Hello, this is Rai from RevUp Render, and I'm going to show you RevUp RealityServer, which is an iray-based GPU real-time rendering engine that runs completely in the cloud. So, as you can see here is Revit 2011. We have a special plugin here that will allow us to send the Revit model out to the cloud to render it on GPU servers. So as you can see here, though, before I go ahead and do that, this is a pretty complex Revit model with a lot of very organic shapes that normally would take an hour easily just to render any view of this. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and just hit the Easy View button. And what it's actually doing, this plugin is pulling all of the Revit data, the geometry, the parametric modeling, component information, the materials, the lighting, all of that stuff, and it's actually sending it out to the GPU server that we have running in the cloud, and it's also converting all of those mental ray materials to iray materials on the fly. So in a second here, you'll see as it just processes the rendering for the first time very quickly, that you can see pretty much the same view that we're seeing in Revit. And if I go over here to the navigation and just move this around slightly, it will actually send that change out to Amazon and update it in the Easy View screen. So Easy View is the collaborative viewer. So you can actually click on this link here and send an email out to your client, your investors, an engineer on the project, pretty much any collaborators. You can send out an email to them and it will actually send them a link. You just type in their email, hit send invites. It will actually send them a link to their email, which they can then just open up and very simply click on the link, and it will open up this HTML Easy View window. Now, the really cool part about this is that you could have literally 100, 1,000 people. There's really no limit, and they can be anywhere in the world because it's just streaming across the compressed view that you're seeing here. Right now, I have complete control of the model, so they're pretty much just viewers at that point or attendees in your session. You can see here when I move the model around, it updates, and you can imagine if you had 1,000 people watching that, it's a pretty powerful tool. And as you can see, this is rendering pretty much instantly to a really high quality that would easily take an hour inside of Revit running on even a supercomputer with CPUs, because that's essentially what this is doing. It's running on a GPU supercomputer in the cloud with almost 1,000 parallel processing cores, as opposed to even our fastest system only has between 16 and 24 CPU cores. So it's quite a big difference. It's a huge leap forward in collaborative design and review capabilities. So I'll just move this around a little bit here. And as you can see, I can zoom in and zoom out on the model, zoom in a little closer, and that should update. I'm going to go ahead and show you the browser view, which is more interactive for doing everything else that you do, trying to get production work or more high quality, larger images for printing out. So as you can see here, this is the overall Revit model we were just looking at in a different file, and this is linked into this larger file of the overall project. And this very complex double-shelled Bucky Fuller geodesic dome, you can see here that this rendering, it's actually as high a quality as Revit can possibly render from this model. Of course, you can apply more materials to this and render those, but as far as this model goes, it's the highest quality it can possibly render. And it took 6 hours and 19 minutes at 300 DPI. So that's what caused our frustration working in Revit, and for a half led to us partnering with miGenius. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you the RevUp RealityServer browser view, which is a more interactive one that you can actually move around directly in the view. You don't even need to use Revit. I'm just going to go ahead and readjust this camera angle to somewhat match the view we were just looking at in Revit there. And that's the one that took 6 hours. And now you can see in just a few seconds, it's already rendered to a much higher quality than was even possible in Revit. And after about a minute or so, it will get to a quality that you could print out and use for a client presentation. So this is the culmination of us working, for almost 2 years to get all the Revit data out into the cloud and be able to render it on this supercomputer-like hardware many times faster. And what that means is that we're getting much closer to removing that physical disconnect between the designer's creative mind and what actually ends up being built or actually, ends up in digital form. Because often there's a large disconnect between back in the day when architects just drew by hand, there was only, from your brain to your hand or down your arm. And now you go through all these digital media forms and, oftentimes the original concept design gets lost. So that's really our goal, the RevUp Render. And this is RevUp RealityServer. Please feel free to send us an email with any questions or comments to info@revuprender.com. We're currently looking for early adopter users to put this RevUp RealityServer into their production workflow and use it on a daily basis. So if you're interested in that, let us know and we can set something up. So thanks for watching.